Rage games for me are the types of games where there's annoying mechanics, usually a limited amount of checkpoints, difficult obstacles, and a linear path. The developers don't make them so that the players have a fun time playing them, and they're usually really difficult and take a lot of time to progress in, unless you're speedrunning them. But somehow, me and many others out there can't help but keep playing them. They're addicting, but why? Why is it that games that want to absolutely infuriate you are so addicting? Are we masochists? Well, yeah, but it all mainly comes down to a few things which I'll be talking about in this video. It's video essay time. At their core, rage games have pretty similar formulas. You don't really get a tutorial explaining what to do. You're just kind of thrown in there and you're supposed to figure it out on your own. And that also means you generally have a few different ways to approach an obstacle and get over it. And this is one of the factors that make rage games so addicting, the free will to learn and experiment. Take getting over it, for example. The fact that the game is physics-based results in different outcomes every time you play it. It's the same obstacle you get past, but you can do it differently every time. There's no right or wrong way of going about it, as long as you get past it. And I would know, because a year ago, I said this. Whilst two of them are really easy to get, like get to the top of the mountain once, then get to the top of the mountain twice, the third one is get to the top of the mountain a few more times. 50 times. Well, I'm not that crazy to actually get that achievement, okay? And now, I got that achievement. No matter how hard I try, I still sucked. But I digress. Rage games let you learn their mechanics on your own and experiment with them. There's a certain sense of pride that you get when you realize that you're learning how to do it, even if you're actually really bad. These games don't give you pointers, or if they do, it's usually pretty vague. Huh? How do I... Oh, you press space to jump. That's very smart. But that just makes mastering their mechanics its own reward. It's like you're a self-taught video editor or something. Wait, that's literally me. I feel like this applies to basically every game, but when you're good at it, you can't help but play it more. It's satisfying to just be really good at a game you've poured hours into. It's like having a job, but with no salary and you just get paid in dopamine. Wow, we're all doomed. Let's see what I had to say a year ago. I'd say it's just a nice rage game done right. It's possible by all means, but it doesn't just give you the win. You really have to earn it.
Does that mean that anything is possible?
Yeah, you're so right. Besides the horrible accent, anything is possible if you try hard enough. A mountain full of random objects, a vertical climb, a journey with your friend. They all seem difficult. No, they may seem impossible, but if you give it enough time, you'll learn to overcome these obstacles. I guess I'm getting a bit deep here. This applies to actual real-life problems too, but there is indeed a philosophy behind these games. Kind of like that one image. I think any person can solve a Rubik's Cube if they try hard enough. If you experiment enough with it, at one point you will be able to solve it. Maybe it's a bad example, but the point I'm trying to get to is that because of this semi-free will that you're given, you can do things your way and still have it work, even if the mechanics are annoying and limiting. At the end of the day, you can always just Alt F4 and try again another time. Obviously, these games encourage you to try again because they hate you and you love them. But they also encourage taking a break. Sometimes you just need to come back refreshed. And no matter what type of progress you make, progress is progress, even if it's negative progress. I feel like something people overlook is that the developers had to have played their rage games at least once to prove that it's actually doable. Because the fact that they aren't actually just unplayable and have learnable mechanics is what makes them draw the fine line between easy and just straight up horrendous. And this fine line, I love it. What some people might not notice about these innovative mechanics is that even if they seem unbalanced as hell and really annoying, there's probably a lot of balancing that had to be done in order for these features to be annoying, but not too annoying. And I also think that, well, it's about the journey, not just the destination, which I'll talk about soon enough. These games weren't made so you just got to the end and that's it, but they were made so that once you get to the end, you can look back on all the progress you made, all the stupid obstacles the game threw at you, and how you managed to overcome them. It's not about the video game, it's about sending a message, a deep message about how it feels to truly get over the challenges life throws at you. Okay, stop. Stop! Oops. Sorry for scaring you. What I was trying to say is that these games are addictive because they're difficult. Which is weird, right? Like, how does that work? Well, all rage games have something in common. Innovation. New, weird, finicky mechanics that don't make any sort of sense. You're told that you just have to use them to beat the game. These mechanics are crafted so that whilst they're meant to frustrate the player, they're built in such a way that they feel mostly in your control. And I say mostly because honestly most of them are fucked. The gameplay itself can create a pretty memorable and addicting experience. Honestly, if I just don't play getting over it for years and then come back to it, I probably still remember most of it just because of its uniqueness. The first tree, the lantern part, no one forgets the lantern part, the annoying orange part, the bucket and the snake, and even the space rocks part or whatever. You see how memorable and creative some parts are? Okay, don't believe me? Jump King, the sewers, the rooftops, the snowy area. Okay, you get it. These games, whether you like it or not, can be considered to be experiences. Some things that you'll just never forget. Once in a lifetime experiences, if you will. Because I cannot stress this enough, but if you're the type of person to just have fun watching other people scream and yell at these funny games, please give them a shot yourself. Besides the fact that you will become the funny screaming man behind the screen, you'll notice that it's way different when you play them. Or not. Probably not. They probably won't be fun. But some of you might get addicted. Speaking of watching people behind a screen, hey you there! If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Seeing the funny numbers go up motivates me to make even better content for you guys. So if you want to see more and better content, please subscribe. It's a win-win and it's free. Anyways, there's another thing that rage games have in common that I didn't mention earlier. Innovation and challenge. Something obvious that should be known about rage games is that they're not for everyone. They're for the real gamers. Step aside, 5-year-old child. I got this. You see, a big portion of people hate rage games because, well, they're difficult. Because of the unfun mechanics. Some people just don't enjoy them no matter what. And I can't blame them. I hate them too, but I'm still addicted. When people are faced with a challenge, some of them tend to try and persist through it and improve themselves until they manage to overcome said challenge. This is another reason why these games are addicting. The challenge aspect is what really intrigues many players, including myself. If a game doesn't have me yelling at the top of my lungs after I beat it, or if I lose a lot of progress, then I ain't playing it. Now, this may be subjective, but as much as I want to blame the game, I know it's my fault when I make a mistake in it. It's not the mechanics or unfair design, even though it does exist to some extent. Making mistakes really just depends on the skill level of the player. Crafting a difficult video game that somehow manages not to feel luck-based is very impressive. And because of this no luck, only skill type of mindset that is used in rage games, it feels like every mistake that's made by the player is just a learning opportunity. When you get to a new part, you're either lucky enough to somehow manage to get past it, or you'll fail miserably and learn what the game actually wants you to do in that specific segment. And it just makes it that much more addicting. When I get to a new part and fail like an idiot, I'm like, oh god, now I want to get back there and try again. They have you hooked because of this exact reason. Or maybe this is the exact reason you hate them, because you just lost 2 hours of progress, oh well. But because of the challenge that is presented and the incentive to master said challenge, you're more likely to be drawn in to play it more. And there's also, well, the reward. I saved this one for last because it's pretty obvious, but it's the biggest reason for why games like these are addicting. As I said earlier, if a game doesn't have me yelling bloody murder after I beat it, then I just won't feel as rewarded. When you start any sort of these rage games, what tends to really be hovering over you most of the time is the reward, the end of the game, because you're told that getting there won't be easy, so you're motivated to get there however you can. And the reward is amplified because of the difficulty. The more difficult a game is, the more rewarding it is to complete it, and it usually gets harder and harder the further you progress. You know how much I love my player skill progression. Once you get to the end, a wave of relief hits you as you realize you just achieved something grand. completing a rage game. Must feel nice, right? A beautiful sight to see, even. I love difficult games.
Wait. The outro.
So in conclusion, rage games are addicting because of the free will to learn its mechanics, the uniqueness and innovation it presents, the challenge and mechanics that motivate you to get better and better, and the reward, and obviously the awesome communities behind these games. Shout out to all the rage gamers out there, not the ragers though, and shout out to you for watching the video.